Hi there, my name is Pablo Requena. I am a guitar maker of Spanish guitars, classical and flamenco guitars. And in this video, we're going to have a look at how to shape and how to work the back bars for a classical guitar. Now this job, it's already been documented in a video course that it's available online. The website is onlineguitarmakingcourse.com. I will leave the website on the description of this video, but there's a few minor differences that I would like to show as well. And basically the starting point is that part of the structure of the back of any guitar, whether it's a classical or a flamenco guitar, is that we have three, sometimes four, but usually three back bars. The back bars are usually made of cedar, even though other materials you can use if you wish, but the most common timber to use is cedar because of the lightness, the stability that it provides, and it's also a timber that we use in the workshop all the time for all the things, so it's good to keep consistent the timbers that we use in the guitar. Right, for this model you can see we have three back bars, and the arrangement and the position of the bars will depend on the design that you follow. For the guitars that I do, this is how I do it. And basically we need to, now that they are glued in place, you can see they are a little bit too tall and bigger than they need to be. So what we're going to do is, once we have them at the right thickness before we glue them in, and they have the right arch before they glue in, now we have to get the right height and give them the right profile at the top. So the first thing is that because the back bars have an arch into them, which is the arch that is going to help to provide the arch for the guitar once the guitar is assembled, so it means that the back already has an arch in this direction. In this other direction along the length is quite flexible, so we don't need to concern ourselves about that too much at the moment, but we do have to keep in mind that we have an arch across the grain, and that arch, because of the bars, is not very flexible. So what this means is that ideally we want to be doing this in a dish with the right arch, which is the matching arch to the bars. This one is a 25 feet radius. So if you don't have a dish, you could do it on the bench, but you'll have to be a little bit more careful because you're going to be working on an arch surface. So having said that, now the dimensions of the bars that I normally fit on my guitars, it's depending on the rigidity of the cedar that I'm using, but in average it's around about 6 or 6.5 millimeters in width. So this is what we got here, about 6.5 or 6.3 millimeters in width, but the height is a little bit taller. At the moment, the lower bar, which is the one that I'm going to show you how to do, in the center section we have 15 millimeters in height, and of course at the ends, because the top is flat or straight but the bottom of the bar has an arch, it means that the two ends are a little bit shorter than in the middle. So in the end we have 12.5 millimeters and a little bit less than 12.5 at the ends. So what we're going to do is to lower this down with the plane down to 14 millimeters in the middle, which is the height for the lower bars. These are the two I do at 12 millimeters. So just with the block plane we can do this job. And all I need to do is to check from time to time. Here we are nearly there, it's 14.3, perhaps a little bit higher here. So what that means is that I've got a little bit of an angle which I need to compensate for. So now I've got 14 millimeters, and at the ends I've got 11.2 and 11.7. So I'm just going to bring this end down a little bit like that. Right, so I've got the bar now at the right height, and what I want to do now is that I want to round the top of this arch. I have a little diagram here, but I'm gonna do another one here so that I can explain. So at the moment, the profile of the bar is like this. Okay, and in the center we have 14 millimeters in height. So now what we want to do is to round this top. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a couple of facets, 45 degrees in each corner, like that. And then I will plane a little bit of this corner, a little bit of this one, and that one, and you'll see that the round shape is nearly there already. So that's what we're going to do now. To do that job, I'm going to use what you call a thumb plane. Thumb plane because, you know, it's small like a thumb. But this is a really good tool to use, and you can buy this in shops for luthier suppliers. You could do it with the block plane, but if you did, then you have to be a little bit careful that with this corner you don't catch into the reinforcement here, because then it won't look very pretty. So it's a much better option to do it with this one. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to cut in a 45 degrees angle all the way along the length of the bar, and you see the shavings are coming out quite nicely. Now I can hear that I am actually cutting a little bit against the grain. So what I'm going to do is to turn the back the other way, because I'd rather cut it with the grain, which means that I'm going to have a much cleaner cut. Okay, more or less like that. Now I'm going to do the other side. These little thumb planes, they are a little bit tricky to keep sharp, but if you have them well sharpened up, they are lovely to work with. Like everything, if you have a tool that is not sharp enough, then it's just going to be a nightmare. So it's really worth spending a bit of time sharpening these little thumb planes. Okay, so now I have more or less the amount of angle that I need. So what I'm going to do now is to go into each one of the new sharp edges that I've created. Like that. And one more in here. Like that. Right, so what I'm going to do now is that I could leave it like this, the guitar is going to be fine, but actually I would like to refine this shape and make it look perfect. So what we're going to do is to finish off and to remove all the marks from the plane. We can use a little bit of sandpaper, but we can also use something very, very simple, and this is what's different from what's in the course online, is that you can use a scraper with a round shape on the top, which is very easy to do because all you need to do that is a metal round file, which you can buy very easily everywhere, and you just basically cut this shape into here, and depending on the size of the bar, you can use the right diameter area of the file, because usually this type of files like this one is a lot thinner in one end than in the main body. So I just worked out where it was. So this is about 6.5. So I know that the area that I need to be using is this area here, where it's more or less the right diameter. So that's what I used to make this notch into this scraper. This is going to make life easier, because all I need to do now is that if I get a pencil, I can mark a pencil line right in the top flat of the bar, like that. And then I'm also going to need a clamp, so I'm going to get one of these clamps, because I would like to keep the back nice and steady into the bench, because I'm going to need both hands. So now what I'm going to do is that I'm going to work all the way along here, and basically this shape is going to be transferred there, but as soon as this pencil line disappears, it means that I have transferred this shape into here. So at the moment you can see you got a nice arch here and here, but the middle is still a little bit flat. So I'm going to keep going until the point where this flat is just gone. And for example, in here I can see that it's nearly gone, while here is not, and here I've got a bit more. So I'm just going to avoid the areas where the pencil it's already gone. Like that, and like that. Right, now I've got to do this end, so to be able to do that, I'm going to turn the back around, and I'm going to do the other end. Now, because the grain went in this direction, what I'm going to do is to start here, like that. And basically doing it this way, you have a nice arch all the way along. And you want to do it carefully, because you don't want to overdo it and then find that actually it's a big wavy up and down, because that's the only danger with using this. But if you do it carefully and just use the line as a reference to stop cutting when the line is gone, then you're going to keep things really quite flat. Then once you've done that, I like using a little bit of sandpaper. Let me just get one little piece from here, and all I need to do, this is 120, I'm just gonna wrap it in, I'll fold it a few times, and then I can just do a final cleanup this way. And this is really all there is to it. So now we know that we have a nice round even arch all the way along. Now this bar is really not too much on show when you build the guitar. When you have the guitar completely built, looking from the sound hole, you really see these two bars, not so much this one. But the principle applies equally the same, and because you can really see these two bars, it's really nice to give you a little bit of time to make things look as good as possible. So this is all you need to know about how to do this job. I hope you find this helpful. It's really simple, and like most of the jobs in the guitar, it might be a bit overwhelming to build an instrument, but if you break it down in small little jobs, most of them are very doable and not that complicated. So for more information, follow me in my channel, and if you're interested in my courses, look at those as well, which they will be described or mentioned in the description of this video. And until the next one.